In a kingdom high above the clouds, where towers pierced the sky and rivers sparkled like liquid silver, lived a princess unlike any other. Her name was Princess Elara, known across lands for her intelligence, courage, and a challenge that no man had yet conquered. Every year, princes from distant kingdoms traveled far and wide to try their luck. Each one hoped to win her hand, but every prince failed. Not because they were unskilled, but because her test was unlike any ordinary trial. It measured not strength or riches, but wisdom, heart, and the ability to see what others could not. The royal challenge was kept secret, known only to the princess and her council. Rumors whispered that it involved riddles, hidden traps, and puzzles designed to reveal the true nature of a person. Some said it tested patience. Others believed it tested courage. The princes who came to the castle often underestimated the challenge. They strutted with confidence, their golden armor gleaming, their banners waving in the wind. But pride was their weakness, and the challenge showed them quickly that cleverness and humility were far more important than power or wealth. While the kingdom buzzed with excitement for the next challenger, a human janitor moved quietly through the palace halls. His name was Joran. He was neither tall nor strong, nor did he wear the armor of a prince. With simple clothes and a mop in his hand, he cleaned the marble floors unseen and unnoticed. Yet there was a spark in his eyes, a quiet intelligence that many overlooked. Joran watched the princes attempt the royal challenge, observing every mistake, every misstep. He did not seek glory, nor did he wish for attention. Still, his presence hinted that perhaps, sometimes, the most ordinary person could see what the mighty could not. The next prince arrived with a flourish, a young man from a distant land confident that this time, someone would finally pass the test. He bowed deeply to Princess Elara, declaring his courage and readiness. The princess observed him silently, her sharp eyes scanning every detail. As the prince approached the challenge, the crowd hushed in anticipation. Would this prince finally succeed where so many had failed? Or would he join the long list of princes who left the palace in shame? The tension in the air was thick, and even the janitor paused, curious about the unfolding events. One by one, the prince tried the obstacles. He stumbled over riddles, misjudged the traps, and grew frustrated as the challenge tested his patience. The audience gasped at every failure, whispering amongst themselves. Princess Elara's face remained calm, but her eyes betrayed a hint of disappointment. "They all think they can win with pride," she murmured softly. "But true worth is measured by what they do when no one is watching, and what they notice that others miss." The janitor continued his quiet observations, noting tiny details that escaped everyone else, his mind ticking over possibilities. By the time the prince failed the final test, the hall was silent except for the soft sweep of Joran's mop across the floor. The princess gave a polite nod, signaling the end of the attempt. The prince left, embarrassed but unharmed, unaware of the curious eyes that had followed his every move. Princess Elara turned her gaze toward the janitor for the first time. There was something in the calm confidence of his stance, the way he noticed things others overlooked. A faint smile touched her lips. Perhaps, she thought, there is more to this human than meets the eye. The crowd whispered, puzzled by her glance at the janitor. Who was this ordinary man, and why did the princess look at him with interest? Little did anyone know the first seeds of change had been planted. The janitor, unnoticed by the world, might be the one to do what all princes could not. As the evening sun dipped behind the towers, the kingdom seemed to hold its breath, waiting for the next moment when destiny would reveal itself. The next morning, the palace was alive with excitement. Word had spread of the prince's failure, and now a new challenger had arrived. He was taller, stronger, and wore armor that shone like polished silver. He believed himself cleverer than all the others. The crowd whispered that this might be the prince to finally win Princess Elara's challenge. Yet, hidden in the shadows, Joran the janitor watched silently, sweeping the floor and quietly observing. He noticed how the prince's confidence was nearly bursting, and he wondered if pride would be his downfall, just as it had been for those before him. The prince approached the royal challenge with a smile, bowing grandly to the princess. "I will succeed where others failed. he declared boldly. The princess's expression did not change. She simply nodded and stepped aside. The hall went silent as the prince moved through the first test. It required careful thought, patience, and observation. At first it seemed simple, but soon the prince grew frustrated. The riddles twisted and turned in ways he did not expect. He missed hidden details and made errors that a clever mind could have avoided. Each mistake drew quiet gasps from the audience, and the princess remained calm, watching closely. The prince's strength could not save him. He tried to force doors that could only open with gentle care. He ignored small clues on the floor, stepping over tiny details that held the key. With each failure, his frustration grew, and his anger became obvious. The princess sighed softly, shaking her head. They all fail because they look only at themselves, not at what is around them, she whispered. Meanwhile, Joran noticed the hidden levers, the subtle patterns, the tiny hints in the room, all overlooked by the proud prince. His mind quietly worked through solutions that the prince could not see, though he made no move yet. By the time the prince reached the final test, the audience was tense. He had tried to solve puzzles with brute force and speed, but he failed again. A loud clatter echoed through the hall as a trap triggered, and the prince stumbled, embarrassed. He left the hall muttering complaints while the crowd murmured with awe and confusion. Princess Elara's gaze lingered on Joran, the janitor. He had remained quiet, observing everything, yet something in his thoughtful stance caught her attention. Could this simple human be the one who understands what all the princes cannot? The janitor moved closer to the royal challenge, unnoticed by the audience. His eyes scanned every corner, every detail, every small symbol. He did not rush. He did not act proud. Instead, he observed, thinking carefully about each step. The princess watched him with curiosity. The hall seemed to hold its breath. For the first time, it was not a prince attempting the challenge. It was an ordinary human, unnoticed by everyone, yet perhaps the most capable of all. A small smile appeared on her face as she whispered to herself, "Let us see what he can do." Outside the hall, servants whispered about the janitor's quiet presence. No one believed he could succeed. Yet Princess Elara felt a strange sense of anticipation. This human moved differently, seeing the challenge as a puzzle to solve rather than a test to dominate. The audience, unaware of the significance, waited for the next event, curious about who would try after another prince's failure. Little did they know, a simple janitor could change everything. The first step toward an extraordinary story had begun, and the kingdom was about to witness something no one expected. The hall fell silent as Joran, the humble janitor, stepped closer to the royal challenge. All eyes were still on the empty space where the last prince had failed. No one expected the janitor to act, and yet there was a quiet confidence in his movements. He did not boast or rush. Instead, he studied every detail of the challenge carefully, the small levers, hidden markings, and delicate traps that had caused every prince to fail. His mind worked like a machine, noticing what others had ignored. Joran's first step was cautious. He approached a puzzle that required patience rather than strength. Unlike the princes, he did not try to force a solution. He observed the symbols, traced the patterns with his eyes, and thought carefully about each move. The audience whispered among themselves, puzzled. How could a mere janitor attempt what kings and princes could not? Princess Elara watched silently, her eyes sharp and curious. Something in his calm, deliberate approach drew her attention. Could this ordinary man succeed where the mighty had failed? As he moved through the challenge, Joran noticed details that had escaped everyone else. A small lever hidden beneath a golden statue, a faint line etched in the marble floor. These tiny hints guided his decisions. Step by step, he solved the riddles with logic, patience, and a kind of intuition that no royal training could teach. Each movement was deliberate, precise, and careful. Slowly, the audience began to lean forward in their seats, their curiosity growing into amazement. The princess felt a flutter of surprise. She had never seen someone approach the royal challenge like this. No arrogance, no pride, only thoughtfulness and focus. Joran's human perspective allowed him to notice things that powerful princes overlooked. His cleverness did not rely on strength or wealth. It relied on observation and understanding. Princess Elara's heart quickened as she whispered softly, "Could it be possible? Could he truly succeed?" The tension in the hall grew as Joran reached the final obstacle. The trap that had ruined every prince's attempt loomed ahead, dangerous and precise. He paused, analyzing it carefully. One wrong move could mean failure. Yet he remained calm, his hands steady, his mind clear. The audience watched in suspense, silent and tense, unable to believe that a janitor, simple, ordinary, unnoticed, might overcome what none of the greatest princes could. Finally, Joran made his move. Every step was calculated, every action carefully considered. The trap did not activate. The puzzle solved itself under his careful attention. Princess Elara's eyes widened in astonishment. A small, proud smile appeared on her face. The hall erupted in whispers and murmurs. The janitor had done what every prince had failed to do. For the first time, someone outside royalty had impressed the princess. Joran's moment had begun, and the kingdom was about to witness a miracle born not of power but of human wit, heart, and courage. The hall was quiet, almost as if the kingdom itself was holding its breath. Joran, the janitor, stood before the final obstacle of the royal challenge. It was the test that had defeated every prince before him, a puzzle filled with hidden traps, twisting paths, and riddles that required more than strength or knowledge. The air felt heavy with tension. Princess Elara's sharp eyes studied him closely. For the first time, she was genuinely curious about who this ordinary human really was. Could he do what no one else could? Joran examined the final puzzle carefully. Every trap, every symbol, every small lever caught his attention. He noticed the faintest clues that the princes had missed. A tiny scratch on the floor, a mark hidden behind a statue, the subtle pattern of the tiles. He moved slowly, deliberately, his mind calculating the steps ahead. The audience leaned forward, whispering nervously, realizing that the janitor was different. Unlike the princes, he did not rush. He did not rely on power. He relied on patience, observation, and cleverness, human qualities that could not be ignored. Step by step, he solved the puzzle. A lever clicked, a hidden door opened, and another riddle revealed itself. The trap that had caught every prince lay in wait, but Joran's calm thinking guided him safely. The crowd gasped as he navigated each challenge with ease, yet suspense built with every move. One wrong step could ruin everything. Princess Elara felt her pulse quicken. She had seen many fail, but never someone who approached the challenge with such quiet brilliance. Could it really be true that a human janitor could succeed? Suddenly, a hidden trap activated and Joran stumbled slightly. Gasps echoed across the hall. For a moment it seemed he might fail, just like the princes. But he steadied himself, analyzing the mechanism quickly. His human intuition, his careful observation, and his calm mind allowed him to bypass the danger. Each small decision was precise, and the final riddle began to make sense. Princess Elara's eyes widened in amazement. The janitor's success seemed possible now, almost certain. The suspense in the room was unbearable. Everyone knew they were witnessing something extraordinary. With careful hands, Joran completed the last step of the challenge. A golden light shone from the puzzle, signaling its completion. The hall erupted in whispers and stunned silence. Princess Elara stepped forward, her eyes shining with admiration. "I have never seen anyone approach the royal challenge like this," she said softly. "You are the first to succeed where all princes failed." The audience could hardly believe their eyes. The human janitor, unnoticed and humble, had conquered what the mighty could not. Joran looked at the princess, a quiet smile on his face. He had not sought glory or reward. He had simply done what he knew was right, trusted his mind and his heart, and succeeded. The kingdom had witnessed a moment that would be remembered for generations. It was proof that ordinary humans with courage, cleverness, and determination could surpass kings and princes. Princess Elara's smile grew wider as she whispered to herself, "Finally, someone worthy. Someone truly extraordinary." The hall was filled with a mix of awe and silence. Joran, the humble janitor, had completed the royal challenge. For the first time in the kingdom's history, someone outside royalty had succeeded. The audience, still in disbelief, slowly began to murmur in admiration. Princess Elara stepped forward, her eyes shining with pride and surprise. She had expected princes to fail, but never a simple human to succeed. "You have done what no one else could," she said softly. "You have proven that courage, heart, and cleverness matter more than power or wealth." Joran bowed slightly, not from pride but out of respect. He had not sought glory or recognition. All he had done was follow his mind and heart. The audience realized that true greatness did not come from titles or riches, but from action, thought, and kindness. Whispers spread across the hall. A janitor, a human, has surpassed all princes. The kingdom felt a change in the air, a new hope that ordinary people could achieve extraordinary things. Princess Elara smiled warmly. She had watched many attempt her challenge, but Joran's success touched her in a way the others could not. She invited him to stand beside her. "You are not just a janitor," she said. "You are a hero in every way that counts." The crowd cheered softly, realizing the wisdom in her words. Joran's intelligence, patience, and humility had won what strength and pride could not. The story of his triumph would be told for generations, inspiring others to believe in themselves no matter their origin. The princes who had failed watched from the sidelines, humbled by the janitor's success. Some hung their heads in shame. Others wondered how they had missed the subtle clues. Joran did not gloat. He simply smiled, quietly proud that he had done his best. The princess and the janitor shared a knowing look. They understood something the kingdom would now remember. True worth comes from seeing the world clearly, thinking carefully, and acting with heart. As the evening sun cast long shadows across the palace, the kingdom celebrated not only Joran's success, but the lesson he had taught. Ordinary humans, often overlooked, could achieve the extraordinary. Princess Elara stood tall, proud of her choice and the courage she had witnessed. The janitor, once invisible in the eyes of the world, now stood as a symbol of hope, cleverness, and human potential. The kingdom knew that life would never be the same again. Joran returned to his simple tasks, quietly sweeping the palace floors, but now with a new respect from all who saw him. He had shown that greatness was not about titles or appearances, but about courage, insight, and heart. Princess Elara watched him, smiling, knowing that she had found someone truly extraordinary, someone who had reminded the kingdom that humans, even the simplest among them, could change the world. And so, the story of the janitor who passed the royal challenge became legend, a tale of hope, human spirit, and triumph that would inspire generations to come.